Worryometer for Kyler Murray, 0 to 10. 0 is not worried at all. He's fine. 10 is, wow, this is a problem.
5.
3, but if it's bad this week, I will escalate that to a 7.
Okay. Well, the Saints defense has been just pitiful lately. They can't tackle anyone. Let's hope that somehow the Cardinals can take advantage.
And this should maybe be a Cliff Kingsbury one. Like, how worried are we about Cliff Kingsbury? Because the offense just does not look very good. And I don't think that Marquise Brown, Zach Ertz, and Rondale Moore is a bad set of weaponry. So it's hopefully DeAndre Hopkins unlocks something.
Right. I don't think Hopkins, Robbie, Rondale, and Ertz is a bad set either,
That's
especially if you don't have a run game. But they're going to have problems with their offensive line, especially against the Saints, who've started to put the pressure on more game after game after game. They've been better at getting to the quarterback. This is going to be a challenge for Kyler on Thursday. I'm still calling him a starter, and I'm kind of excited to just see what we get out of Hopkins. I've got him ranked as a top 24 receiver this week. Rondale's a good flex.
Very encouraged.
Thursday night preview right now.
No, not yet.
No. If I've got Kyler, I'm not prioritizing carrying a second quarterback. And I believe they have a late bye anyway, so you could wait a little while on that.
All right, how about Tom Brady? He is the number 15 QB per game in 4-point, number 16 per game in 6-point per passing touchdown leagues. Tom Brady, very low touchdown rate. And I feel like that's the case for most of the guys on the Worryometer, Heath. And did you know, by the way, that Tampa Bay allows the fewest pressures? They have the lowest pressure rate allowed. It's not because their line is so great. It's because Tom Brady gets rid of the ball quicker than every quarterback. But that's been the case all 3 years in Tampa Bay. He's been top 4 in quickest release, basically. He's been among the fastest to get rid of the ball. But, yeah, is it just touchdowns? What's your Worryometer, Heath? You can start on Tom Brady, 0 to 10.
It might be more of like a 6. 0 to 10. The intended air yards per pass attempt is the lowest it's been since he's been in Tampa Bay. It's actually the lowest it's been in the last 5 years, but it's closer to what he did in New England than what he's done in Tampa Bay. So I think that there's a reason to believe, like, it's not just the touchdown rate with him. His yards per pass attempt at 6.7 or 6.7 is the lowest it's been since he's been in Tampa Bay. And he's 45 years old. Like, there's a chance that there's just some decrease, and he's got a lot going on too. So I'm slight. That wasn't a joke at all.
Oh, I thought you meant the wedding stuff. Yeah, the personal. You're right. He's got a lot going on in his personal life. Sorry, didn't mean to have it.
So I'm slightly concerned. More concerned than I am with Kyler.
6 is more than slightly. All right, Dave, where are you? 0 to 10.
I'll put him at the same spot as I have Kyler, so 5. I was hoping that the offensive line would get itself worked out, and it hasn't quite happened yet. And Brady is still he really nailed it. Just getting rid of the ball quickly. The air yards aren't there. He's not throwing deep as much. It's a little problematic. He doesn't have Antonio Brown screeching downfield like he did in the past, and I feel like they need that component to their offense. They need somebody who can threaten downfield, and that might change the way that defenses play them a little bit. Evans is the only guy that's really doing that right now.
All right, the counter.
He averaged 7.5 yards per pass attempt combined his first 2 years in Tampa Bay. He has averaged better than 7.5 yards per pass attempt, or 7.5, once. That was week 1.
Okay, but here's the counter. He's had very few, he has not had a lot of Evans and Godwin out there. And they are now throwing 42, 52, 52, and 40 times in the last 4 games.
Oh, thank goodness. I mean, that gives him a shot at 250 yards every week. Because otherwise, I don't think he'd get there.
He's over that in 3 of those 4 games, 271, 385, 351, and 243. Mm-hmm. It just has a really, really low touchdown rate. And every year he's 43. He's 44. How many times has Tom Brady been counted out?
Nobody's counting him out.
I'm surprised you guys are asking. I thought it was going to be like a 2. I guess I see all your points.
He's another one of those quarterbacks that you've got him on your team. You might not be happy with what he's giving you. What are your options? Who's on the where? Is Matt Ryan coming to rescue you this week?
Right.
Or you can do it if you want to. Same thing with Garoppolo. Do they have more upside than Tom Brady? I think Ryan might. Maybe the case could be made for Garoppolo. He's playing Carolina this week. If they can run the ball, this is the other thing is that, and this is why he's throwing so much too. They can't run the ball that well. Again, the offensive line isn't that great. Leonard Fournette, not exactly the pitcher of explosiveness. And so as long as this continues to be the case, Brady should be able to compile solid to good fantasy numbers. Will he have a lot of 300-yard and 3 and 4 touchdown games? Probably not.
But for guys who were drafted, we were ranking them as top 6 quarterbacks. It's not the benchometer. It's like I'm worried neither of them are going to live up to what I paid for them.
I guess I'm a little worried because he doesn't have Gronk, he doesn't have Antonio Brown, but we did see a few games last year where it was just Godwin and Evans. I think there were 3 games, and Brady scored more than 30 points in 2 of them. I see a ton of pass attempts. I see some almost touchdowns. He had some bad luck a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm less worried, but okay. It's all right. I was going to put Aaron Jones on there, but we already talked about him. So here's one thing I'm definitely not worried about, and that is the way I look in my Indochino suit. It is a thing of beauty. If you want an Indochino suit, if you want anything from Indochino, all the menswear that they have, great shirts, sweaters, just a lot of great stuff, menswear that you should be really checking out. Just go to Indochino.com. That's INDOCHINO.com and use the code FFT for $50 off any purchase of $399 or more. And I've talked to people who pay $800, $1,000 for a custom suit. You don't even have to approach that at Indochino.com. You can shop their made-for-you suits starting at just $449. Premium fitted shirts starting at just $89. You can fine-tune every detail. If you don't have a custom suit, you probably don't know what you're missing. I didn't know what I was missing until I got a suit from Indochino, and it is by far my best suit. I wear it whenever I can. I get compliments a lot. I enjoy wearing it. It's not just, I didn't have to take it to the tailor. I mean, you buy something cheaper, and then you have to take it to the tailor, and all of a sudden, you're paying more money, and it's not nearly as good. So just do it the right way and go to Indochino. You're going to absolutely love your suit. Again, design your perfect suit with Indochino. Get $50 off any purchase of $399 or more and use the promo code FFT at Indochino.com. That's INDOCHINO.com. Promo code is FFT for Indochino. Back to the worryometer. Who's next? Joe Mixon is next. He is number 22 per game in non-PPR, number 17 per game in full PPR. Joe Mixon, he doesn't play much on third down, but he does catch a lot of passes. He also has, 14 or fewer carries in 3 of the last 4 games. Kind of sneaky there. 0 to 10, Dave, on Joe Mixon.
0. He's on my team. He's got good upside every single week, pretty much regardless of the matchup. There's nothing to sweat with Joe Mixon.
Heath?
Yeah, we are using a different scale, but I will say 3, maybe 4.
Okay.
Like I'm not benching
which scale
Joe
are you
Mixon,
using?
How worried am I that he is not going to deliver on cost?
Okay.
Like be a disappointment this year. Like he has been so far.
You always have to define the scales.
What would you like that? What would you like? Like what am I doing wrong here? 10?
I think just in general. I mean, that's fine. No, that's fine. That's just like a general. Hey, are you worried about this guy? I think you may be overthinking it a little bit, Heath. I just want you to roll with the punches. He's
RB22 on the year. We drafted him as RB5.
He's RB17 in PPR.
It's worrying.
Yeah, I mean, his inefficiency has been very worrying. He is averaging 5.6 yards per carry in each of his last 2 games, so hopefully that continues. Doesn't sound like you're terribly worried about him. One thing I will point out, his playoff schedule, Joe Mixon's playoff schedule, Bucks, Patriots, Bills, and that is number 1, number 3, and number 8 against running backs so far. We can worry about that maybe a little later in the year. Would you rather have Mixon or Swift?
Mixon, because we don't know exactly. We think Swift is coming back this week. We don't know how long he'll last.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say Mixon.
All right. Worryometer on Cortland Sutton. Talked about him a little bit earlier, so we can go quickly here. Like I said, he was 15th per game before week 6. and now he's 28th. But he's still 16th in targets among wide receivers. I don't know. Worryometer on Sutton.
Would you mind if I made one last quick point on Mixon?
Go for it.
Heath, correct me if I'm wrong. Yards before contact per rush. That's indicative of a lot of things, but certainly a lot of how the offensive line is playing and getting off the snap and creating a push for their running back. Would you agree that that's part of it? Is that a yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
His yards before contact per rush, Mixon's, has gone up over the past 2 games. Yeah. 3.07 2 weeks ago, 2.25 last week. It's against the Ravens and the Saints. Those are not slouchy defenses against the run.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right, Corlin Sutton, 0 to 10.
I'm going to try using Heath's scale. And I'm going to put it at 4 if Russell Wilson's healthy, 7 if Russell Wilson is out for an extended period of time.
Yeah, I'll split the difference, 5 or 6.
Okay. Would you rather have Cortland Sutton or DeAndre Hopkins?
Hopkins.
All right, so again, if Russell Wilson is okay and he's going to play, I'd rather have Sutton. If he's going to miss 4 weeks because he's got a problem with his hamstring, then I'd rather have Nuke.
Right, but you don't know, so that's part of the value.
So I guess I'd lean toward Sutton because I don't know.
I'd lean toward Hopkins because I'm worried about Russell Wilson. But yeah, that's probably what it comes down to. Just how worried are you about Russell Wilson?
No, I'm worried about Russell Wilson even when he's healthy.
How worried are you about him playing? Because yes,
right.
If he's playing,
is Russell okay? This is a fair question. If Russell who's better right now, Russell Wilson, given how he's played this year, or Brett Rippon?
Russell Wilson.
I think so too, but I think it just needed to be asked. I also want to point out that before last week, Cortland Sutton had a 28% target share. He had 417 yards. He had a 63% catch rate, 46 targets in 5 games. It's got to be 9 targets a game.
Yeah.
I'm banking on that guy coming back and not what we saw in week 6 being the case the rest of the season.
Yeah, he was on pace before week 6. Sutton was on pace for 99 catches, over 1,400 yards, only 3 touchdowns on 156 targets. All right. DK.
Like if we get word, I'm sorry, Adam, if we get word late this week that Russ is fine, I'll disagree with Heath and say that Cortland is a buy low. But low, try and take advantage of this bad game.
DK Metcalf, 0 to 10.
5, because he's kind of been what he was drafted to be with Geno Smith playing out of his mind.
And now we don't know if
what if Geno Smith's just I don't think Geno Smith's going to go back to being awful. He's going to be awful the rest of the way. But what if he's just an average quarterback the rest of the way?
Mm-hmm.
How much? What is DK Metcalf? Considering that it seems like he's just slightly he's at the very least he is not clearly ahead of Tyler Lockett.
I don't think he is, and I think you can make the case that he's not. I also am a little bit concerned that they just won a game, and after the game, Pete Carroll said, yes, this is how I want to win games. Running the ball, great defense, not throwing like crazy. This is the Pete Carroll way. This is why Russ got out of Seattle. And if Kenneth Walker is going to continue to be an awesome rushing presence, and I think he will, it's going to take pass attempts out of Geno Smith's pocket. That takes targets away from DK and Tyler Lockett. I think he's on the money, 5, if not a 6, for DK Metcalf.
Sutton or Metcalf?
Sutton, if Russ is okay.
Yep.
Okay, how about Metcalf or...
But I think you can get more in trade for Metcalf right now than you can for Sutton.
Would you rather have Metcalf or Damian Pierce?
Pierce.
Brandon Cooks?
Metcalf.
Flip a coin.
You love Brandon Cooks. I think he's a terrific buy low too, but I would still rather have DK.
Kyle Pitts.
I don't think either one of them are top 24 wide receivers.
I think they both are.
Kyle Pitts, 0 to 10.
Or I think they both will be.
10.
9.
If anybody, and I wrote this in the tight end preview this week, if anybody in your league thinks that touchdown down means Kyle Pitts is back, I would trade him for basically a starter at any position. Their pass volume is so low. He's not the number one option on his team. He was third on targets behind Alameda Zaccheaus, who is, by the way, we should give him a little bit of credit, having a remarkable year in terms of efficiency. He won't keep it up, but it's incredible what he's done so far. It's one of the lowest pass volume offenses in the NFL. He's not the number one offense, and he's not connecting with Marcus Mariota. I don't know if this is because of coverage or because of a lack of chemistry with those two, but Mariota's been better throwing to just about everybody besides Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, he throws to Drake London a lot more than he throws to Kyle Pitts, and Kyle Pitts is lining up in line a lot more this year than he was last year. So he's lining up in the slot and out wide less frequently than he was. And can they continue throwing this infrequently? Probably not. But look at their schedule. I mean, they do have Cincinnati this week, then the Chargers, Carolina twice, the Bears, Washington, Pittsburgh. They got a lot of games that they could win or at least be very competitive, and they're competitive every week.
And that's the thing is, like, every week, not every week, but that's a bit of an exaggeration, but they are 8 to 10 point underdogs against playoff teams. And they're either winning or even in the second half, it's a 2-score game in the second half, and they run the ball 14 times to close it to a 1-score game.
They haven't lost the game yet this year by more than 6 points, I think. They are
one
feisty.
thing I want to check out with them is AJ Terrell, because Casey Hayward is on IR, right?
Casey Hayward's out for a while. I think Terrell's going to be okay, and I think Oliver's going to be okay. So they may – don't quote me on that. They start practicing on Wednesday. We could have an update by Friday on
we got to get going. I'm sorry, Dave. We got to get going here on the Worryometer so we can preview the game. And
he ran 2 routes in the red zone last week. You got very lucky with Kyle Pitts.
J.K. Dobbins, I thought you were going to say he ran 2 routes last week. J.K. Dobbins, 0 to 10, Worryometer.
6.
8. I don't like the fact there's no progress being made. Mm-hmm. It's just like he may not be healthy all year. I hope he is, but there's no reason to be encouraged right now.
No, we were told though, expect a slow first half of the year for J.K. Dobbins, and that by the second half of the year, he would get going a little bit more. I'm holding out hope that that's the case.
If there's another problem that I see here, this is where Baltimore has ranked in running back carries the last 4 seasons. 7th, 13th, 30th, and now 31st. Mm-hmm. And if he's splitting with Gus Edwards, maybe Kenyon Drake is still involved. They just throw the ball more than they used to, and they run the ball with running backs less frequently, much less frequently than they used to. I don't know how much that changes.
I don't know how much that is related to their confidence in their running backs.
Yeah,
right now, present day confidence.
That offense that we saw.
And last year confidence too. Last year they're running Devonta Freeman and Latavius Murray out there. So yes. I expect, and this could be wrong, if J.K. Dobbins gets back to 100%, you will see their running back carries increase in the second half of the season.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to get back up to 7th or maybe 13th is realistic.
Could be league average.